Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/Am I the Butthole, where OP gets a father-daughter tattoo with his stepdaughter and expects his actual daughter to just not be upset about it. Our first Reddit post comes from MLK Random, titled, "Am I the butthole for announcing that my roommate has a, quote, secret boyfriend while he was hiding in our apartment? I, a 25-year-old female, live with my roommate T, who's 24. She's great overall, clean, pays bills on time, and chill, but she's super private about her dating life, which is totally fine. I respect that. But recently, I started noticing signs. A mysterious hoodie on the couch, 2 coffee mugs in the sink when I know she didn't have friends over. Also, my snacks mysteriously disappearing faster than usual." So anyway, we're having people over for a little game night. Nothing wild, just friends and wine. T didn't mention she had plans, so I assumed that she would join or just chill in her room. Midway through the night, someone jokingly asks T, "When are we going to finally meet your imaginary boyfriend?" And I, being a clown, say, "Oh, he's here, probably hiding in her room, eating my Oreos again." Cue awkward laughter, then silence. Then a very real dude walks out of her room looking like he just spawned in The Sims. Turns out he was in her room the whole time. She hadn't told anyone he was staying over. She pulls me aside and says that I humiliated her and made her look sneaky in front of all of our friends. But I didn't know that he was literally in there at that moment. And also, if you've got a whole man camped out in the apartment, maybe give your roommate a heads up. Definitely not the butthole, OP. I've had roommates before, and it's completely okay to be, private about your social life and things like that and respect people's privacy. But if you guys share an apartment and there's going to be a whole person in there that you've never met before and don't even know, you at least deserve the common courtesy to know that she's having company and someone in the apartment that, you don't know. Our next Reddit post comes from Junior Antelope 1447, titled, "My daughter broke down in tears because I did not get a father-daughter tattoo with her, but got it with my stepdaughter instead. Am I the butthole?" So I, a 46-year-old male, have been married to my wife for 5 years. She has a daughter from her previous marriage who's now my stepdaughter. She's now 17 and her bio father passed away a decade ago. I also have a bio daughter from my previous marriage who's now 24 and fully an adult. My bio daughter and I were extremely close when she was younger, but things changed a lot after my divorce. My ex-wife had been having an affair for months, and my daughter actually knew about it the entire time. For example, when I went out of town on a business trip, my ex-wife invited her affair partner over, and they even slept in my bed. The whole thing sort of mentally traumatized me. But what hurt even more than the affair itself was realizing that my daughter had been silent all along. We literally had a big Father's Day celebration, and she'd given me this handwritten card and a gift, and we went to a movie and a dinner, and she was happy and smiling all along, all while knowing about the affair. My daughter apologized a lot after the truth came out, and I accepted it because I'll always love her, but our bond was never quite the same after that. On the other hand, I've grown very close to my stepdaughter. We do lots of father-daughter things together, and a couple of months ago, she asked if we can get matching father-daughter tattoos. She wanted it as a way to honor our bond, and even though I'm not a huge tattoo person, my wife encouraged me and said it would mean a lot to her daughter. My wife also thought that I would look good in a tattoo. So I did it. My stepdaughter and I both got tattoos that reference our bond. Hers mentions me being her dad, and mine references her name and her being my daughter. Honestly, I thought it came out really well. The design was actually super neat, and my stepdaughter was really happy and emotional about the end result. Last week, my bio daughter came over to visit. I never mentioned the tattoo beforehand because I didn't know how she'd feel about it. But of course, she noticed. looked at it closely, and asked about it. I told her the whole story. She got really quiet, but didn't say much in the moment. The next day, when my wife and stepdaughter were out having lunch, she broke down in tears and cried really heavily, and I felt really bad about it. I asked her if it was about the tattoo, and she didn't really say anything. She just kept crying. I even told her that I would get a tattoo with her name too, but all she talked about was how she messed up years ago. She ultimately did stop crying, and I did hug her and console her, etc., but she still seemed really sad. But I still don't get why she broke down really badly like that. I would have maybe understood if my daughter was like 15 or 16, but my daughter is a fully grown adult now. Am I not allowed to bond with my stepdaughter? Am I the butthole for this? I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments, but I actually don't think that you're the butthole. Like, this sounded a lot worse in the title than it is in actuality, but like, you're right, your daughter's an adult. And one thing you didn't give context to was how young your daughter was when she kept that secret from you, about the affair. Maybe she was a child and maybe she just, felt like she couldn't say anything. I'll give her that, right? She was a kid. I'm not going to fault a kid, right? But, she's an adult, so I don't know. I understand why it might hurt her, but, yeah, OP. It's a tough situation, but I don't think you're the butthole. Our next Reddit post comes from Dame Dalla77Q, titled, "Am I the butthole for showing up to my boyfriend's surprise birthday party even though his, quote, girl best friend didn't invite me?" So I, a 27-year-old female, have been dating my boyfriend, who's 28, for about a year. Everything's been good overall, except there's always been this one weird dynamic. He's extremely close to his girl best friend, T. They've known each other forever and claim it's totally platonic. I've always tried to be cool about it and made an effort, invited her out, etc. Anyway, his birthday was last weekend. I had no idea anything was happening until his roommate texted me asking if I was coming to insert bar name that night. I had no clue what he was talking about, and he was shocked that I didn't know it was a surprise party that T had planned. So I show up alone, obviously, and T looks genuinely surprised to see me. She literally said, "Oh, I didn't know roommate told you." No apology, no oops, nothing. I stayed, mostly to avoid drama on my boyfriend's birthday, but the whole thing was awkward. I sat off to the side with some random cousin while T gave a whole speech about how, quote, no one understands him like she does. Cool. Later, I brought it up to my boyfriend and he said that it, quote, wasn't that deep and that maybe she just assumed he had told me, but it's his surprise party. Wouldn't you assume your girlfriend should be there? Now I'm wondering if I should have just left the second I found out that I wasn't actually invited. I feel weirdly guilty, but also humiliated. Am I the butthole for showing up and making it known that I wasn't originally included? Or was that fair game since, I'm literally his girlfriend? Personally, I think it's fair game, and just judging based off of all the weird behavior from your boyfriend and this platonic friend, I think there's a lot more going on than they're actually willing to share with you. I mean, not inviting you and just their weird behavior overall just seems like a lot of red flags, OP. Our next Reddit post comes from Logan Stashyruck, titled, "Am I the butthole for refusing to bring my boyfriend to family events until he learns how to read the room?" So I, a 26-year-old female, have been dating my boyfriend who's 28 for almost a year. He's kind, smart, funny, and I do love him. But there's one issue that's becoming kind of exhausting. He has no idea how to read a room, like zero social awareness sometimes. The first time I really noticed it was my cousin's engagement party. Everyone was dressed semi-formal, soft music, people mingling, pretty chill vibe. He showed up late, by the way, blasting music from his car, came in wearing a graphic tee that said something wildly inappropriate. I won't repeat it here, but it was something that you would see on a gag gift, and proceeded to dominate every conversation with unrelated jokes and stories. My dad straight up asked me, "Is he okay?" I tried to let it slide, but it keeps happening. At my sister's birthday dinner, he loudly told a story about someone crapping their pants in a Target while we were waiting for dessert. At a family barbecue, he kept pushing my uncle to just, quote, admit that he used to do drugs in the 80s. No matter how many subtle signals I give him, like tapping his leg under the table, changing the subject, or even texting him to tone it down, he either doesn't pick up on it or brushes it off. I tried to gently talk to him about it, and his response is always something like, "That's just who I am," or "Your family is too uptight." But I don't think asking someone to not bring up bodily functions over dinner is being uptight. So now I've started declining invites to family stuff unless I go alone. My mom has asked me a few times why he's not coming anymore, and I just say that he's busy. But the truth is, I'm embarrassed and kind of tired of feeling like I'm babysitting him in social situations. He recently got annoyed and said that I'm, quote, ashamed of him and that it's hurtful that I don't bring him around. I told him that I'm not ashamed of him, but I am uncomfortable with how he acts around my family. Now he's being cold and passive aggressive. So am I the butthole for not bringing my boyfriend to family events until he learns some basic social awareness? No, I absolutely do not think you're being the butthole. You set a very clear and reasonable expectation, and for whatever reason, he just can't seem to abide by it. I think it's very reasonable that you ask your partner to not be inappropriate and just to be, semi-formal and polite, in front of your family. And just, I don't know, the fact that he can't do that very simple thing for you would at least be enough to me to show me that he doesn't, respect my boundaries or, care about my opinion on things. And I would consider that a pretty big red flag, OP. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/Am I the Butthole. Thank you all so much for listening, and if you like these videos, like and subscribe for more Reddit content.